Joining us for permutations and the numbers Bafana need to go through to the next round is soccer journalist Mazola Molefe to look at Bafana's chances in tonight's game against Namibia. Thank you so much for your time on the program. So one would assume that it's do or die now for Bafana. What are our chances?
Well, good morning and good morning to SABC viewers. Sorry, it's a bit loud here. I'm at the media center ahead of a couple of press conferences. But I think yesterday's result between Tunisia and Mali put Bafana in good stead. Perhaps if we are able to beat our neighbors Namibia and try to maybe fight for a draw in the final match, perhaps that puts us through to the next stage, because we know this is an expanded tournament now with a lot more teams, and there's a lot more chances to even get in from a third place point of view, instead of maybe winning the group or coming second in the group. So I have a lot of hope. We've never ever lost to Namibia, but having said that, they've proved to be quite the surprise package in this competition so far by winning their first game against Tunisia, when we lost to Mali, when in the first half we looked like we had the beating of those giants, but ended up on the losing side. So I'm not taking out my calculator just yet. I'm hoping Bafana do it the natural way by actually winning their games.
Yeah, and Mr. Molefe, I want us to zoom into the team itself, assessing the form that we're in right now. What do you make of it?
Yeah, we came into this tournament with a pretty decent record. A couple of games unbeaten. Hugo Bruce having helped Bafana or guided Bafana to qualify for this competition. Even that big win against Morocco, who had just come from the World Cup, finishing in fourth place. And we had hoped to build momentum from that, but I don't think we had adequate preparation. If you look at our friendly games, the last friendly game that we played was against Lesotho behind closed doors. I don't particularly think that was a worthy opponent, although Lesotho, have had some surprising results on the continent in the last couple of years or couple of months. And coming into this competition, we perhaps needed similar opposition to your Tunisia, to your Mali, who are big and strong and physical, because that's what Coach Hugo Bruce was talking about, that we lacked the physicality against Mali in the second half of that competition. But having said that, Coach Hugo Bruce has picked a team he thinks can do the job, but there have been questions about who can score goals, because obviously Lyle Foster, with his situation in the English Premiership with Burnley not being available, Lebo Motiba, a big striker who's got goals in him, who plays in France top flight division, also long-term injury as well. A couple of other players from the Premier Soccer League who were left out. Kanyisa Maya is a top goal scorer. So there have been questions about who would get the goals for us. But let's see tonight. Evidence Mahopa, I thought, looked decent in the first half. Pesitau always looks threatening, but because he'd missed that penalty in the first half, I think he dropped his head a little bit. But we are going to need Bafana to pull up their socks tonight against Namibia.
And let's talk about how important would Peter Shelela be for Namibia, because this is something that I need to delve into.
Yeah, I'm terrified of Peter's ability. He knows the Bafana defenders quite well. He plays with the majority of them at Mamelodi Sundowns. Sundowns have about 9 or 10 players in that Bafana team that Peter knows very well. Even Namibia itself have a lot of DStv Premiership-based players, so they know South Africa like the back of their hand. Coach Colin Benjamin has been talking about how South Africa has the resources, South Africa has the ability to go all the way in this competition. But I also think it's a little bit of gamesmanship. Peter, did look a little bit rusty. When Namibia played against Tunisia, he missed a couple of sitters goals that or on any given day, Peter Shalulile on his day can hit the back of the net, but he didn't quite get so. I'm hoping he doesn't have his scoring boots on against South Africa tonight, because if Peter Shalulile is on form, then our defenders have to be alert. Goalkeeper Ronwen Williams also plays with Peter Shalulile at club level at Sundowns. He should also be switched on.
And let's do a quick needs analysis when we look at our team. I know that you touched on the physicality aspect as well. What is it that we need in order for us to win this game?
Yeah, I think with Namibia, it's not so much about the physical strength. They are pretty much similar to us. As I said, a lot of them play in the DStv Premiership. I would say the SADC region teams at this competition are pretty much similar. Obviously, depending on the lineup, depending on the oppositions, the coaches pick horses for courses, one would say. But in this instance, Namibia's biggest strength is speed. They rely quite heavily on their speed. Peter Shalulile, we both mentioned, Dion Hoto, Hanamu, who plays for Amazulu as well on the left channel with his pace, his crosses. They've got a lot of good players that can pose a threat. But in as far as Bafana, if Coach Hugo Bruce, I was listening to him yesterday talking about how perhaps we shouldn't be trying to hold the ball and playing it from the back as much as we tried to do it against Mali. It's a lesson learned. Perhaps if we hit on the counter, maybe play a little bit different than we are used to and counter Namibia's speed. Because what I witnessed is that our defense was a bit slow on the day. They were out-muscled, also beaten for pace by that Mali team. If we kind of correct those mistakes, I think we could get something out of this game. And by something, I mean 3 points, because that's what we're desperate for. There's no time to play draws and hope for the best in the final game.
I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you for your score prediction for this game.
Well, I mean, that's pretty simple. I think it's heart over mind. I would love for Bafana to stay a bit longer in the competition. So I'm hoping Bafana keep that record of never losing to Namibia and winning by any margin, really. 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. I'll take anything as long as it's 3 points for Bafana. And I do think they are capable of beating Namibia. We've never lost against them in friendly games or in qualifiers.